I always do this. Hey, good morning, everybody. This is a little show I put on for you guys when I'm driving, called Live on the Drive, or Live from the Drive. I can never remember which way I call it. I don't think it matters, because both get the point across. I'm driving, I'm live, and this is Sunday morning edition. Just leaving the gym, headed home, and it's kind of creepy how empty all the streets are. So there's three things I'm going to talk about today. One, I'm going to answer some questions that were asked. I asked, hey, ask me some questions you want to hear the answers to on my Instagram stories feed. Two, we're going to talk about why I feel like I'm going to complete 75 hard. The why behind why I'm going to attempt again or complete. We're going to do it in full. And then two, talking a little bit about being panic or being cautious in this coronavirus pandemic that we have going on. Hey, Sharon. So first off, I got asked 2 questions. So next time, I hope you guys will ask me more questions so I have more to answer on. First question was, do I text while I drive? If you know me, I'm probably texting all day long every day. So the real question is, am I driving while I'm texting? I'm going to go no comment on that because I'm not probably setting the best example. 2, I need to get better at not doing that. I would love it if I had a self-driving car or a personal Uber, because I commute about an hour in the morning, an hour at home. In the morning, it's more like some jams on the radio and getting kind of the waking up before I get to the gym. But on the way home, it's just kind of like, geez Louise, long ass drive. So instead of just listening to podcasts or music or books on tape, I figured I would do live on the drive on home, and that's why I kind of do that. But yeah, I could get so much more done if I had a Uber driver. Second question, favorite books. That's always a good one to hear about. By far, my favorite book of all time is The Alchemist. It's by Paulo Coelho, and it is a story about, it's like a fiction book, but like self-help at the same time, with a lot of like examples or metaphors or fables, lessons learned. It's super cool. It's about this young shepherd boy, Santiago, and there's a reason that guy's name is Santiago. If you've ever, Paulo Coelho's other favorite book of mine is called The Pilgrimage, and it's about his coming of age. Well, I don't know if it's his coming of age exactly, but maybe his defining moment or figuring out who he was when he walked the Camino de Santiago, which is this path from France to this place in Spain where St. James is buried. It's like a Catholic pilgrimage. So it's no coincidence that Santiago, the boy who's on a pilgrimage and on a journey through the book The Alchemist, is named Santiago. And along the way, the boy learns lessons. He's chasing his treasure. He's trying to fulfill his destiny. And along the way, it goes from being easy with beginner's luck to hard, and kind of like a self-discovery where the answers for your life are right in front of you, but until you're ready to receive those gifts, a lot of times you don't see them. So I think that book is super cool. I always read it once a year, and every time I read it, I'm always amazed at what I discover, what I find in that book. The second book I mentioned was The Pilgrimage. That's a super good book. Other books I've really liked, I like checking out sometimes and not having to think about things. So like a Stephen King epic is always good. I liked the Gunslinger series, the Dark Tower series, I think is the actual book series. That's pretty good. Any of his long books you just kind of like check out in Fantasyland for a bit. They're interesting. Non-fiction wise, I really liked, the one I always always recommend is Digital Persuasion by Aaron Gargan King. It talks to you about how you can make better connections online, specifically not being a bugaboo in the DMs, and how to do it effectively. But that thing translates to so much more. It's really, you learn these skills on how to craft better messages, but it's really about learning to relate to people in the way that they want to be talked to, and making it about them and not about you. So it translates to socializing, it translates to meeting people in person. It's just a fabulous book. Other books I liked, recently I read The Third Wave, and recently I meant like 2 years ago. The Third Wave by Steve Case, the founder of AOL, and he talks about how we're in the third wave of the internet, which is the Internet of Things. Kind of the first wave was building the infrastructure for the internet, which was Web 1.0, getting people on the internet. Web 2.0 was like blogs, podcasts, social media, these type of things. Stuff you could invent in your garage with a small staff and become a billionaire. But the wave of the future is going to require a lot of capital investments, because as you connect things to the Internet of Things, you're going to need big infrastructure, big dollars behind it, a lot of massive push. So that's going to be more than just like, can your refrigerator order you a glass of milk, or refill your gallon of milk when you're out. But other things like, how does massive data track traffic and provide solutions to free up traffic, or self-driving cars, or that type of shit. So big, huge ideas that most people aren't going to be able to have the resources to create in their garage and build businesses. They'll create the idea, they'll probably develop working prototypes and models, but they're going to need large resources to do that. They're going to need backings of big companies, billions of dollars. So those books are really cool. 75 Hard Challenge. If you know what it is, then you know, but if you don't, Google it. It's basically this. It's a mental toughness challenge where you go 75 days straight. If you fuck up once, you start over. It's sticking to a diet, including no alcohol. The diet can be any diet you choose, but you have to stick to it. It's drinking a gallon of water a day. It's reading 10 pages of book a day. It's doing 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each, and one of them has to be outdoors. And they could be anything. They don't always have to be 45 minutes of CrossFit two times a day. They could be 2 walks, 2 whatever it is. So you're physically moving outside at least one of those 45 minutes. And no drinking, no business. Oh, and a daily progress picture every day. So I did this, or attempted to do this last fall, and I was really seeing the best improvements in my life when I was doing this, but mentally I wasn't there to complete it, and the wheels fell off. I talked about that in some other posts, but if you want to know more, I can tell you more, but I don't want to get too much into it right now. But anyways, I made it to about day 60, and then I fell off the train, had some drinks, and then January was a lot of drinking, February was a little less drinking. In March, actually, I feel like I've reset my mind, and I've been coming to terms with myself as a non-drinker and it not being a part of me. And I just kind of felt that there was this lingering thing that I should have completed it. I've started things and stopped before, and I need to go back and I need to finish it. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to give it a shot. And if you want to join in with me, I would love some support and help. And there's never been a better time than I think right now to get started, because a lot of people, the hardest part is, how am I going to deal with the no drinking part? Because I have this event or that event or some sort of socializing thing coming up where there's going to be alcohol being served at it, and I don't know if I can refrain. Well, with everything going on right now, a lot of events, like all my events are canceled for the foreseeable future for at least 30 days. And I expect that will be continued on. So all this like, hey, what am I going to do coming up, is that anxiety of that is kind of removed. So it's going to be easier to not drink if you so choose to. If you want to do this challenge, of course. 2, you're going to be inside a bit more. So maybe the temptation to drive through the drive-through, that's going to be easier. So if you stock up on foods that keep you within your diet, and like I said, it can be any diet, and it doesn't have to be crazy stuff. Most people, if you're just looking to do a little bit better than you have been, it's calorie deficit. Just figure out how many calories you're eating, exercise you're doing, and then, reduce it down a few hundred calories. So for me, there's a thing called BMR calculator. You can go on a BMR. Hey, Amanda, how are you? You go on a BMR calculator. It says, this is how many calories I consume in a resting state a day based on your age and weight and metabolism. And then you take a multiplier by how often you're active. So for me, especially doing this 25 hard challenge, I'm going to be pretty active. So my calorie intake is about 2,500 calories. And then you figure out how many carbs, fats, proteins you kind of want to stick with. For me, I'm going to do 150 carbohydrates, 178 grams of protein, and then the balance is fats, which is like about 130 grams of fat. So my diet is going to be stick within those calories, plus or minus 5%. So I don't want to go over my calories for 5%. I don't want to go over my macros 5% or under 5%. So it's a bit of a balance. It's hard to be completely accurate because a lot of times you'll be like, I am 60 grams short of fats, but I only have 50 calories left. Like, you're just not going to get 60 grams of fat and 50 calories. So you have to kind of balance that for the most part, focus on the calories. That's what I'm doing. So that I'm going to be, and then too, if we're going to be cooped up in the house, we're not going to be out socializing a lot, we're going to get stir crazy. So getting outside for 45 minutes, I think you're going to want to do that. And that's like not going out in public. It's not like going to crazy crowded things. But, if you're out and you just go around and walk around your block, your neighborhood for 45 minutes, kind of try to avoid people, I think you're going to be okay. You're going to be safe. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But you're going to be better off than going to some of the other crazy places you go. So I think those three things, the ease of not being able to consume alcohol at events, the ability to be a little bit more dialed in with your diet because we're eating and preparing our own foods, and two, we're going to want to get out of the house. Those three things are that. Plus, you got a little more time on your hands. Reading 10 pages of books is a little bit easier. That was another thing that was super hard for me, which I was surprised at, was reading 10 pages a day. Because, like, my day from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed is, like, filled up. And it's so hard to squeeze in 10 pages a day and say, oh, we'll stay up later or get up earlier. Those are, all things that could be done, but they were a bit challenging for me. Because you have a little trade-off. If I'm reading, I'm not paying attention to my family, or I'm driving, I can't read while I'm driving, but I got this hour of stuff. So I'll find a way. Maybe it's reading quickly while you're at lunch, maybe find a way to read and walk. Who knows? I'll figure it out. I'm going to do it. So that's why I'm going to attempt 75 hard challenge, just so I can say it's done. I checked the box. I don't have this lingering down, because I do have some issues in my mind about, not issues, just kind of like complaints about the program. So either A, I'm going to complete it and I'll say, hey, this is what I liked or didn't like about it, and I'll have a leg to stand on. Or two, all those questions will be erased and I'll say, yeah, they're there for a reason, and I totally agree with it. So win-win on that one. Or should I say can't lose. So that's it for the 75 hard challenge. Panic. Last topic, panic versus being cautious on with everything going on right now. You've probably been to the stores. You see all the foods have been hoarded, toilet paper's gone, all this crazy stuff. Like, you have to ask yourself, are you buying into the panic, or are you being cautious? And at first you're like, hey man, everybody's going crazy. But if shit were to go down and you didn't have the stuff you didn't have and didn't need to survive, would you be fucked? And if you got a family, you want to think about those things. You don't need to go out and hoard, but you should be cautious. I mean, you could have an earthquake, or you could have a tornado, and you could be without food and water and all these things. So there is some level of preparedness you need to have. so you can do it. But don't be overly cautious, or don't be like hoarding stuff up and trying to like rip people off and make a profit. This is a time when we need people to look out for each other and care for each other. So, be cautious, do the right thing, stock up on what you need. It's just like being nice to people. You can never go wrong when you're being nice. And if you're being a little bit cautious, you're not going to go wrong. If nothing happens, fine. You got a little extra food. You're a little bit more prepared in case you do have a natural disaster emergency in the future. Or two, you are prepared when the shit goes down and you're carried. That's a bit of my take. Be safe. Try to avoid the places that people talk about going to, the crowd stuff. You may think, I don't have it, but you don't know who you're going to give it to. And I think that's super important, that you are cautious about who you're around, because some people aren't as healthy as you. They might have a compromised immune system. They might have disabilities. They might struggle to, if they became ill, maybe not gravely ill, but what if they couldn't get out of bed and prep themselves food, stuff like that. So think about that. Last little take is, if you're going to be cooped up in the house and you're thinking, how can I want to go to the gym, what am I going to do about that? I'm going to tell you, my personal favorite is the kettlebell. Now, you can go to Target and get a kettlebell. They're somewhere between like $1 to $2 a pound. So for like $50, maybe max, you could get like a 25-pound kettlebell. Doesn't matter the weight, doesn't matter what they have. Just get one if you have none and you have nothing at the house to work out with, because a kettlebell, you can do everything you need with a kettlebell. You can do squats, rows, presses, you can do push-ups, you can do all kinds of things. There's a million types of exercise, and the kettlebell will give you the flexibility to continue your workouts. You can do HIIT workouts for 20 minutes. So it's a perfect tool that if you are going to be locked up in your house for an extended period of time and you don't want to go out in public, you can still get your workouts in. It's very inexpensive to get one. You can probably still order them online. I don't think there's been a run on kettlebells. And you'll fall in love with the thing, I think, too. There's tons of videos to watch on YouTube or other things. So the information's out there. You can get a good 20-minute workout in. And the reason why the weight doesn't matter is, like, you say, I need a big, heavy one. If you got a lightweight kettlebell that's not very heavy for you, do a lot more reps. If the kettlebell's a bit heavier than you're used to, then you're going to lower the reps. So everything's flexible in that. And like you said, this is short term. It's not going to be forever. You'll have this little tool that you can stay busy for the next 30 plus days, if that's what it comes down to. Anyways, that's really wraps up my Live on the Drive Sunday edition. It's funny, when I'm driving home, I like to talk on the phone, but if I get home before I'm done, I end up driving around the neighborhood in circles. I don't know, something about continuous moving while I'm talking kind of puts me at ease. When I park, I feel like, I don't know, I get distracted about what's going on. It's just a stupid thing. So anyways, that's it. Have a happy Sunday. Stay safe, everybody. If you like what I heard, please follow, share. I'm going to post this on YouTube when I'm done here. Anyways, take care.